All right, so here we are. So you've practiced dovetails, or we've gone through dovetails, and there's so this is basically what we're building in the class. A traditional sea chest, some version of a small chest like this. So I think it's obvious why dovetails are important, because they're everywhere. Every corner here that we've made is dovetailed together, right? So even the tray on the inside. So there's a lot of dovetails, even in a small chest. So the other, sort of the next joint, the next meat and potatoes joint would be a mortise and tenon. And where that comes into play is this lid. These are called stiles, and these are called rails. And so they're mortise and tenon together. And then there's a panel here that sort of floats in between the mortise and tenon. And so what that looks like here, so this is a little, an example. So this would be an example of what this top piece is, that floating panel. It has a groove in it. And this is a piece of an example of a mortise and tenon, right? So you can see the mortise, which is the female part. Basically it's a square hole that goes through there. And then the tenon, the male part of the joint. And this is called a haunch tenon. This little bit here that sticks out is called a haunch. And so that's a pretty common type of joint to make. And so on the lid, we usually put the panel up above the level of this for strength, and also a look that kind of goes with a tool chest. So anyway, that's what we've got going on here. And so if this was a cabinet door, kitchen cabinet door, you would see this side of a panel probably, and it would be called a flush panel. And this side is the raised part here. Other examples. So here, this is more like a cabinet door, a typical cabinet door that has a bead on the outside. And so because it's got that bead, so this is a 1/4 inch flush panel. Because this has a bead on the outside, we've mitered that little bit there to make the bead line up. And you can see there again, it's a mortise. It has a haunch on it. There's the haunch. Goes together like so. Very utilitarian joint. Here's another example of a door that I've cut into pieces, like if it was a raised panel, right? So there's a version of a raised panel on this side. It could be a flush panel on this side. It comes apart the same way. Got a haunch, etc. And they can be all sizes. Building a timber frame house, it's your mortise and tenon, your main joint where heavy beams come together. Building entry doors, I like to build my own entry doors on houses, and so what I use is usually like 2 or 2.5 inch stock, and this is the panel. You can see what this looks like, and this is mortise and tenon. I think it's swelled together. I don't know if I'll get it apart. Maybe I will. Yeah. So there again, haunch, mortise, and tenon. I've cut it into pieces here. The tenon, just to give it a little more stability in the wood. You can see what it looks like there. So the next series of videos, what we're going to do is master this joint, this mortise and tenon with a floating panel made with hand tools. And so, it's probably similar level of difficulty as the dovetails. A little simpler to conceive of, in some ways harder to implement, but with practice we'll get good at it. So that's what's coming next.